There's a lot of people out there worrying about their Social Security benefits, Social Security retirement, survivor benefits, Medicare, Medicaid. I've seen a lot of YouTube videos, people stressed out, TikTok interviews, Instagram, and too many people are just completely worried about their Social Security benefits if they're depending on their Social Security benefits for part or all of their income. And yeah, there is reason to worry, but if you know how to work the system, if you know how to prepare, then I would recommend stop worrying. There's certain actions you will need to do, and I'm going to go over those. And as I do on a regular basis, this is also a live Q&A. So I've got tons of questions because one of the things about Social Security is there's exceptions, the exceptions, the exceptions, and no two cases it seems like are the same in a lot of circumstances. So that's why I do the live Q&A. So I'm going to talk about why you shouldn't stress, shouldn't worry. Go on with your life. Everything will be okay. But that is if you have the correct information. There's a lot of social media pages out there that they clickbait, and that's their MO is to kind of scare people about, oh, there's a stimulus check, there's not a stimulus check, you're going to get some type of letters, your benefits are going to stop, you need to go in the office, you don't need to go to the office, whatever the case may be. And so on a regular basis, I spend a lot of my time saying, okay, here's what I saw in social media land out there. Let's talk about the reality of it. Is there this? Is this true? Is that true? And if you're new to my channel, the reason I know is because I've done this a few million times. I've helped millions of people out navigate the bureaucracy. And once they know, their particular case, what they should do in their particular case, then it's, they just go on with their lives and reduce the stress. So if if you're stressed, I'm here to alleviate that. If you have any friends, family, relatives, little old lady down the street, make sure you subscribe, share this channel with them. Yeah, that's, we don't go into retirement to be all stressed out. We go into retirement to actually retire and enjoy our lives. Unfortunately for me, my retirement lasted about a week. But anyway, so some of the things going out there, Doge is definitely not happening in terms of alleviating stress. They are piling stress on there. We saw that they were saying, okay, people have to go into the office if they want to, get their benefits. And some people misinterpreted that as if they want to keep their benefits, which is not true. But they did a terrible time in messaging, and it freaked a lot of people out. And I've done some videos on that and said, hey, they had this policy for about a week or 10 days or something, and then they reversed it. And so Doge and Elon Musk are definitely not helping reduce the stress out there for people. However, Elon Musk and Doge, they are in charge of Social Security. Make no bones about that. Doge and Elon Musk is in charge of Social Security. The acting commissioner of the Social Security Administration is a Doge guy. The new person coming in says he has allegiance with Doge. So they're looking for fraud, waste, and abuse, which Social Security employees and the inspector generals do on a regular basis. Doge hasn't found any fraud yet. You go onto their website and you can see Social Security. They've, it's hard for them. It's hard to research their website nowadays, the Doge wall of receipts. But if you look at the Social Security category, you'll see zero found in terms of fraud. $0, zero. So that's good on Social Security that, they're doing a good job. Is there fraud, waste, and abuse, more fraud out there that needs to be stopped? Absolutely. But that's not the type of fraud Elon Musk and Doge are interested in. They're not interested on that one person, down the block that is receiving disability benefits, that's working. That's small change to someone that, is worth several $100 billion. They're looking for, one button that they can push to where they can supposedly save billions of dollars. And there's just not that for Social Security, because Social Security is relatively efficient. They operate at less than 1% and less than 1% of improper payments. A lot of those are actually strategic overpayments that I've talked about several times. But Elon Musk and Doge are limited to what they can do to affect your lives. They can make it hard for you to get your benefits and keep your benefits, which they are definitely doing. Hard for everybody else, not for you, because you're a member of my channel now. So everybody else is stressed out and overwhelmed and confused, and share this channel with people. But in terms of our community here, We're going to help you navigate the thing. And if you've got something that you are approaching, we want to make sure that you do it less stress free as possible, and you get all the benefits you earned, all the benefits you paid for. So Elon Musk and Doge can make it very, very difficult for everybody else other than this community to get their benefits and keep their benefits and maximize their benefits. But they can't change your benefits. Only an act of Congress can reduce your benefits or increase your benefits or anything like that. And in terms of stopping your benefits, the only thing they can do is if they mess the computer system up accidentally or on purpose. Social Security has been begging Congress for decades for resources to update the Social Security computer system, but Congress has been refusing that for decades because they don't want it updated. They want it to be broken, and that way they can eventually, give it out to their buddies on Wall Street. But so that is a concerted effort. But if something like that does happen, if they accidentally on purpose, as we used to say in the Marine Corps, if they accidentally on purpose break the system and your check doesn't come, I've made a video on that. And if that happens, I will make a video on it again to show you what to do. And, we'll kind of triage the entire system. People that need checks immediately, I'll tell you exactly, hey, here's the situation. Here's how it's broken. These are the people in what part of the country. These are the people with last digits of the Social Security number 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever the case may be. That are not going to get their benefits, and here's how we should approach it. The people that really need their benefits need to go in first, and everybody that can wait, like the Commerce Secretary's mother-in-law, who doesn't care if they get a check this month or next month, wait, and that way we can triage the entire situation. So if that happens, don't worry, we have a plan of attack. If you get some type of letter, I've talked about this. I made a video 3 days ago. There are some social media people out there that said, oh my gosh, the letters are coming. You have to get this letter and stuff. Those are just normal letters that come this time of the year, every single year. Once the 2024, the previous year's earnings are in, and how much you paid into it. So those are normal letters. The mass mailing of letters. There's other letters, overpayment letters and continuing disability reviews and all these other type of letters that I talk about on a regular basis. But if you get one of those, make sure you come back here and we'll help you walk through that entire process. But the one thing I do want you to worry about, not necessarily worry about, but take action on, that is, all of this is completely unsatisfactory. Or as we used to say in the Marine Corps, unsat. The number one thing that I've talked about many, many times is what is unsatisfactory is the fact that, yes, your benefits are going to be cut. And that we've known about this for decades because the Social Security Trust Fund, and don't let politicians trick you in saying the Social Security Trust Fund has been stolen. As soon as they find that money, which supposedly they've been looking for 20 years, as soon as we find the money, we'll put it back and everything will be hunky-dory. That's all BS. They've given that BS excuse and people bought it, and it's been stolen. It's been borrowed and yada, yada, yada. No, the Social Security Trust Fund is there. It's in your check. If you get a Social Security check, 8-9% of your check comes from the trust fund, but that trust fund is savings, and the savings are being depleted. Just like, your savings aren't unlimited. The trust fund's savings aren't unlimited. They are going to run out. And when are they going to run out? In 2034. And we've known about this for decades, and we've done nothing. Politicians, it's like we've tried nothing, and we're all out of ideas, right? So that's one thing you need to address. You need to call your politicians and say, hey, what are you doing to make sure I don't get cuts in 20, 21, 22, 23% here in a few years? What are you going to do? And then if they give you some BS about, we're looking for the trust fund. It was stolen. I've got it narrowed down. I think it's in a chock full of canned nuts in the backyard of the White House. I think I finally found the hole. So yeah, don't believe that BS. Don't believe about, immigrants stole it. Actually, immigrants, undocumented immigrants pay into Social Security. They actually help the trust fund. So don't believe all the BS out there. Say, okay, politician, forget the BS. What are you actually doing to make sure the trust fund actually is replenished, or we've got other some type of solutions. And if you look at any of my videos, you know that I say raise the FICA cap. Okay, so that's one thing. Don't worry about it, but take action. Call your politicians, all your politicians, and point blank say, what are you doing? Number two, when you talk to those politicians, say, hey, this is BS that we are having to wait 4 hours, 5 hours on the phone. The Social Security staffing, it is at a 50-year low. This has been a long time coming. It's not, Biden's fault. It's not Trump's fault. It's not Doge's fault. It's not Elon Musk's fault. It's not Clinton's. It's not Mike Johnson. It's all their fault. They are politicians. They are elected politicians, and they didn't do anything. They've essentially just watched the house burn and distracted us with all kinds of BS. So reach out to those people and say, hey, when I paid FICA taxes all those years, part of that money was supposed to get me help when I needed help. And you're not giving Social Security those resources to give me help. When I call Social Security, I want them to pick up the phone. I paid for that service. When I call Social Security, I want them to help me find the benefits I'm eligible for, I earned, I need. I paid for that help. Why aren't you providing Social Security? Because Social Security can only do what Congress allows them to do. If they don't, if Social Security can only hire however many people Congress allows them to hire, they get a yearly allocation, and Congress says, hey, customer service, waiting on the time, waiting to get your disability approved, waiting to get, your retirement approved. It's taken too long. We need to, get more people to help people, or we need to update the computer system. They haven't done any of that. And now it is at a crucial point. And now it's at an even worse point, because now they just, fired, relocated, voluntold to leave 7,000 or more people. So it's even more difficult. So, all right. Let's get into specific questions. So final answer is don't worry, be educated. Don't get stressed out. Have a plan. Be prepared. And I'm going to help you. As I've done over 1,000 videos, but now we're in a kind of a crisis mode right now. So we want to reach out to as many people as possible. So please share. And, if you know anybody that's all freaked out about it, tell them, don't worry about it. If something happens to you, you get a weird letter, you get an overpayment, the system goes down, you don't get a check or something like that. Don't worry about it. We've got plan B, plan C, plan D. So please, let's share. Okay, let's get into some actual questions here. And as always, the question and answer period is sponsored by Chapter Medicare. So if you need any help with them, give them a call. I want to apply for maximum 70-year-old Social Security to start as soon as I turn 70. Okay, good. So if you're going to wait till 70, you're going to get the max delayed retirement credits. And don't wait till after 70. So the month you turn 70, that's when those max delayed retirement credits stop accumulating. So exactly when do I apply? So I won't be 69 old, lower amount. I am working full-time till 70 just for this reason. Yep. Because you're past your full retirement age, work has no relevance. It's not going to affect your benefits negatively at all. It probably maybe increase your benefits depending on how much you make. So you're, 69, 70, 79, 89, 99. If you're still working and paying into Social Security FICA tax, and that's one of your high 35 years of earnings, then your benefits will go up. So it doesn't matter whether you're collecting benefits or not collecting benefits. If it's one of your high 35 years, then Social Security will recalculate and give you more money. And that's 100% automatic. You don't have to do anything. But in terms of when, couple of 3 months before, I probably as soon as possible. Sometimes, depending on the day of the month, you can do it like 4 months before, but 3 months before should be good. If you already applied for Medicare at 65, you're already in the system, so it's so much easier to start your money benefits once you're already in the system, because when you filed for Medicare, you proved your name was correct, your date of birth, your citizenship, or green card status, or whatever the case may be. So you already did the difficult part in terms of getting in what Social Security employees called you're in the claims path. So it's so much easier, to turn your benefits on. If you didn't, then, you just have to go through the regular thing. You can do it online. You can call the 800 number, schedule an appointment. If you're working and collecting, or if you're working and you have health insurance from current work, and you're happy with it, and your employer has 20 or more employees, then you don't have to sign up for Part B. They'll automatically sign you up for Part A, Medicare Part A, but you can refuse Part A, save yourself the $185. You don't need Part B. You don't need Part C. You don't need Part D if you currently have health insurance from your work or your spouse's work. And then when you turn 75, 85, 95, and you stop working, stop receiving health insurance from that work, then you go ahead and sign up. And then, so you sign up for Part A and Part B at Social Security. And then Part C, I don't like it being called Part C. Those are the Medicare Advantage plans. When you call it Part C, it seems like it's part of original Medicare, but it's not. It's Medicare Advantage. Essentially, those replace Part A and Part B. You get those through private companies. And then you get a Part D plan. Those are through private company as well. And then, or what I recommend is a Medicare supplement plan, a Plan N or a Plan G. At the very, very least, check first. Ask anytime you want to set up for a Medicare plan, ask whoever you're talking to chapter, or someone that say, okay, I need to sign up for a Medicare plan. Tell me about Medicare supplements, Medicare N supplement, and Medigap, Medicare supplement, same thing, Medicare Plan N, Plan G. Tell me about those. And then say, okay, now tell me what's the difference between those and a Medicare Advantage. And then you can make an educated decision on what's best for you. Nobody can tell you what's best for you. It's, what's best for you. So, all right, let's see here. Get some other questions. Intervision FM. If in 1990 I would have bought $12 worth of stock at McDonald's, I would be getting residual checks rather than waiting for Social Security or SSDI, which I do have. Yeah, if we all had a time machine, we go back and start using Rogaine a lot earlier, wouldn't we? But anyway, oh wait, is that my personal? Anyway, I have been getting SSA for 9 years. Is there anything new that I need to do? Go into Social Security, set up my Social Security account. It's not mandatory. There's some people out there in social media land trying to scare people again by saying, oh, if you don't go into Social Security and set up a my Social Security account, then your check is going to stop. No, come on, people out there. You're freaking people out. What Social Security says is if you want to go online and do stuff online through my Social Security, change your direct deposit, get a 1099, a benefit verification, whatever. If you want to do that stuff, then you have to go in there and set up an account under the new system. So, Fern, if you set up a my Social Security account, 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, you can't go into that system now because they've updated it last year, which is a good thing. They updated it, make it, more secure and stuff. So if you want to go in there, you have to go in there and set up an account under the new system, the new secure system. If you don't want to, then nothing. So yeah, there's a lot of people out there that are freaking people out that says, okay, but I, live out in the country and I don't have a computer. And so is my check going to stop if I don't? No, it's not. Come on, social media people out there, stop. Take and Took, now is a good time to report questions. Thank you, Take and Took, our unofficial moderator, always on the spot. I appreciate it. I'm turning 65 this year, but want to keep my medical from work till end of the year. Can I start Medicare in 2026? Absolutely. Yep. So at that time, so it depends, you have 3 months before you turn 65, the month you turn 65, and 3 months after you turn 65. And that's your initial enrollment period. So it depends what month you turn 65, but if you do it within 3 months after, then you're good. But if it's after that, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months after that, it's still good because you have health insurance from current work, yours or your spouse's, and I assume your employer has 20 or more employees. So at that time, you just have to go through another step when you because you go ahead and start your Medicare, you contact Social Security, do the whole application online over the phone or whatever the case may be. And then if it's after that 3 months, then you'll have to provide a couple of forms, 40B and a 564. SSA 564. And it's basically you take it down to your employer and your employer fills it out and says, yes, Barbara did have health insurance from current work, hers or her spouse's, when she turned 65. And now she is out of her initial enrollment period, but she has a special enrollment period. So, yep, no problem whatsoever. So, what's the age for SSA? My husband is 65, but still works. For Social Security, I mean, if you're on disability, any age. If you want to file for disabled widows benefits, 50 years old. If you want to file for survivor benefits, 60. If you want to file for regular retirement benefits, 62. If you're working, making over the annual earnings limit, then you might want to wait till your full retirement age, which if you were born, if he was born 1960 and after, his full retirement age is 67 years old. I would like to talk to you about a live consultation. I kind of stopped doing this. I've got a person, my Jackson, that does them now. I want to focus on keeping up on the news and doing reaching out to politicians and trying to get stuff changed, and doing these live videos. So I stopped doing those one-on-one consultations. But if you go into into YouTube or wherever, the LinkedIn, you'll see you can schedule an appointment with her, and she knows everything. So she's awesome. So she worked for Social Security for several decades as well. So let's see here. My sister. Oh, there we go. I love these questions. Asking questions for other people. We love that here. My sister is at full retirement age, but doesn't have enough points. So what can she do? Is she able to apply for Medicare? Well, if she doesn't have the 40 credits, she can apply for Medicare, but if she doesn't have the required amount of the 40 credits, she'll have to pay for Part A. Most people don't pay for Part A because they have, 10 years of coverage, 40 quarters. But if you don't, then yeah. So she'll have to pay for that. Everybody pays for the Part B, the $185. But was she ever married to anybody? If she's currently married for 10 years or longer to anybody that was insured, she is able to get spouse or survivor benefits, but spouse benefits on that person's record, even if she isn't insured herself. So there's a lot of people, spouses that, stay home, take care of the kids, whatever the case may be, don't work, but their spouse works. And what do they say? I think they've done a lot of, analyses on those, and the people that stay home and take care of the kids and raise a family, if they contracted that work out, you would get what, $100,000 a year or something to be the Uber driver and all that other kind of stuff. So yeah, it's not as though it's not, you're not contributing. It's even probably make more than your spouse if you actually got paid for that work, right? Betty, if I have a Medicare Advantage policy, where does my $185 deducted from my monthly benefit go? Goes to the Medicare Advantage policy, basically. So that's how the whole thing works. Is when you sign up for one of those zero premium, that's why they don't call it free, because it's not free because you already paid for it. Plus you're paying the $185. But when you sign up for one of those Medicare Advantage plans, then that company, whoever you sign up with, they go to Washington and say, hey, we just signed up Betty, give us some of that money. So there's a calculation that they do. So the government, from your pool of money that you paid into it in the $185, they cut a check to your insurance company to take care of your health. So you're paying for it. So don't, this company is so nice to me and they're giving me all this thing for zero and all this kind of stuff. I don't want to feel, I don't want to ask too much. People are like that. They're, awesome like that, but they shouldn't worry about stuff like that. You're paying for it. The $185, all those decades you paid into FICA, the Medicare part of FICA, you paid for it. So those are your benefits. If they give you dental, use it. If they give you vision, use it. You paid for it. So my husband just turned 65, currently on SSDI, Medicare Part A and B, on the Slim B. where they pay his premium and mine. At what age do they switch to retirement? At his full retirement age. So at his full retirement age, most people don't even know the switch, don't even notice. It's basically the Social Security stops taking your money out of your husband's money out of the Social Security trust fund and starts taking it out of the disability trust fund and starts taking out of the retirement trust fund. But the check stays the same, the amount stays the same, the direct deposit. Most people don't know the switch. But no more CDRs, continuing disability reviews. No more work limitations. Once you past your full retirement age, you can work as much as you want. It doesn't affect your benefits negatively at all. So he has A and B and Slim B. So that's Medicare savings program. That's Medicaid through the state. So maybe this is for low income, low resource Medicaid. So you're dual eligible. He has Medicare and Medicaid. So maybe maybe a Medicare Advantage plan. You can't get a Medicare supplement plan in this case, but a Medicare Advantage plan, maybe there might be some more benefits. So you can reach out to Chapter and say, hey, I'm 65 and, I've got Slim B. Is there anything better out there? Am I in the right plan? Can I do anything now if I'm not? Or can we schedule something for October when anybody can switch? So, okay, already answered that one. Larry, thank you, Dr. Ed, and your son. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it for all both you do. Remember, the truth shall not set you free. Lord bless. We will believe. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. And believe and follow your advice benefit. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, this is a 2-man operation. Me and my son do this. So, and then obviously we've got Chapter that helps everybody else with Medicare. They found that people over 115 years old are receiving Social Security. That is 100% incorrect. Plus children not even born receiving Social Security. That is 100% incorrect. How can you say they found no fraud? Because both of those statements are allegations that they made up. And go on to, if you want proof, go on to, if they found all these 20 million people receiving Social Security benefits, why haven't they stopped it? Why haven't they, if this is fraud, how come there have been no arrests? How come when you go into the DOGE website and look under Social Security, why does it say, hey, 20 million people times the average Social Security check is about 1,900? Do the math. How many billions of dollars is that? How come they didn't add that to the wall of receipts? Because it was all BS. And sorry, Lori, you fell for it. So, and that's exactly what they want. They want to distract you, and that way they can pick your pockets. So, yeah. I'm going to visit my new home once again. I hope you like my, okay, not a question there. I can't believe how I have come to depend on watching your channel for my peace of mind. Oh, thank you. Yeah, this video is all about that peace of mind. I saw someone that I think she's a nurse or sometimes a social worker. I think I saw her on TikTok or Instagram or something. But she was saying that when she goes in and, helps the elderly or disabled or something like that, the number one question she is receiving, I'm going to have to find that video and maybe put it up. And this person is the reason I did this video today, is because she goes into these places and the first question, is my Social Security check going to continue? The social worker, whoever's coming in to take care. And if this person doesn't get their Social Security check, this lady can't come in anymore, and the person can't pay their electricity and their rent and stuff. So the first question is my Social Security check going to continue? And I'm here to tell you, yes, unless they break it. But if they do, we have plan B. So, because you tell the truth in a way that cuts through the noise. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We don't want Musk updating things. He blows up rockets. Yeah. I mean, the Social Security has been requesting an update for decades and decades and decades. And actually, before COVID, it looks like Congress finally did the right thing and said, okay, Social Security, you can finally update. We've been begging for decades to update the computer system to make it, easier for people to get their benefits and claim their benefits. Here you go. But then COVID happened and then it all went south. So yeah, it's unfortunate. Well, I am not going to stress about it at all. I've been getting SSA going on 2 years now. As long as the check keeps getting deposited, I will continue living my life. I like it. There you go. That's it. That is it. But even in that case, you see this stuff out there in social media land and you're like, oh man. So yeah. And then when you see that stuff, come back here and say, hey, there's another BS, this, that, and the other out there. And could you address that? And I'll check it out. Oh, and thank you very much, GC, for the $1.99. My son and I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Yes, please like and subscribe and all that kind of good stuff. Let's see if we got another Knickknack 70. This is a corrupt NDO and are preparing not only this nation, but the world for the mark. They are making their own rules and devouring our Constitution. Yeah, it's definitely a very strange time in U.S. history. I filed a reconsideration due to a SSA failure to notify me at 70 that I could be receiving a larger benefit on my earnings instead of survivor benefits. They only want to retroactive back 6 months. Yes, that is correct. After your full retirement age, Social Security can give you retroactive back pay for up to 6 months, and that's it. So Betty, all right. So this is good. Good that you asked a reconsideration, because if Social Security had the computer systems and the employees that you should have been notified, and it is a failure of Social Security because what this stems from is it's called the WIB-RIB listing, and WIB, Widows Insurance Benefits, RIB, Retirement Insurance Benefits. So it's a listing every office in the country gets. My office used to get it, just like every office. And we would assign one person to work that list. Hi, Deborah. She used to work it in our office. And she would look at that list, and she was always spot on. Deborah was, wow, talk about an awesome person. Wow. Anyway, yeah, Texas State Fair. She addicted to the Texas State Fair. Her and her family, great family. Anyway, so Deborah, once a year or every quarter, I think it came out, she got a listing of everybody in our area that are eligible for more benefits on their own record versus what they were receiving on surviving spouse widows benefits. So she would send out those letters to those people like clockwork on hers, but in some offices, maybe they didn't have the staff to do it, whatever the case may be. So you didn't get your letter. The letter wasn't sent. It got lost in the mail, whatever the case may be, but you didn't get that information in a timely manner. And therefore 7 months, 8 months, a year, 2 years later, you lost money. So that is what Social Security is supposed to do, because they can't do it automatically. You have to choose to file for retirement benefits on your own record. I think it kind of should be automatic. Once you're 70 years old, it's not your benefit amount on your own record is not going to increase more. So I think it should be automatic so you wouldn't lose those benefits. But for some reason, you actually have to file a claim, and you didn't because you didn't know. So yeah, continue on. You did the SSA 561. You requested a reconsideration, and come back here and not many people do that. So good on you, Betty. Good on you. You have a PhD in Social Security. So come back here and tell us how it happened. What happens? I am probably. It doesn't happen. Those people don't request a reconsideration for that very often, but based on policy, they're probably going to say, hey, you had, ignorance of the law is no excuse type thing, which is, BS in this particular case. But they're probably going to deny you at the first or second level. But if you make it to the administrative law judge, I'm pretty sure the administrative law judge is probably going to side with you. But to get to the administrative law judge takes forever. They're backlogged, crazy. So it might take a year or something to get that. But you'll still continue just to get your checks and stuff. But a year, 2 years later, when you see the administrative law judge and they side with you, then they'll give you all that back pay. So I would go all the way. So Let's see here. Oh, and then Betty, thanks to you and your son for your assistance. I helped a friend to earn more benefits with Medicaid, reimbursing the 185 deduction from the check. There we go. I like it. I like it. So that's what it's all about. I'm a Doreen card holder, worked 23 years for the airline in the US. I get Social Security sometimes, worry about what's going on in this country now. Yeah. Yeah, that's, participatory democracy. We definitely need to get involved. You just don't. Was it Ralph Waldo Emerson? I think it's Thoreau said, yeah, who you are is not, who drops out of bed every day. It's, what you do with that day. I'm paraphrasing there. So all of my life, I have never worked. So when I get to what they call retirement age, wouldn't I just stay with my SSI and the SSDI disability from my parents? Yes, Nikki. So you're receiving SSI and DAC benefits, disabled adult child benefits. So yeah, if you've never worked, then yep, you just stay there. The only thing for you is when you turn 65, because you probably, you were only able to get a Medicare Advantage plan. When you turn 65, you're eligible to get a Medicare supplement plan, without any health underwriting, be it denied or anything like that. So when you turn 65, check to see if that is good for you. But if you're receiving SSI, it's probably not good for you, but it doesn't hurt to, try to check at that time. So maybe situation changed by that time. Since February, I've been trying to teach 2 offices about suspending benefits for delayed retirement credits. No luck yet. Oh gosh. Yeah. Yeah. There's 2 reasons why Social Security offices do not know about that. Is number 1 is nobody knows about it. You do. And number 2 is not many people, use it, even if they do know about it. So I am sure you, in your particular case, you already have the Palms reference that shows the voluntary delayed retirement credits. But for those people out there that don't, I just put it in the chat. So I just I just put the Palms reference, the policy reference in chat. And basically what Kathleen is talking about is if you're on Social Security benefits and you're approaching your full retirement age, you can actually voluntarily suspend your benefits. So let's say your full retirement age is 67 and you say, I'd like my benefits to increase more. I thought, I filed early and it was reduced or whatever the case may be, but I would like to get my benefits to be increased because, I'm really healthy now and I think I'm going to live a long time and I've done the numbers and it looks like, the higher benefit is the best for me. So you can actually suspend your benefits, voluntarily suspend your benefits about 2 or 3 months before you hit your full retirement age. And what does that do? Is you get those delayed retirement credits. So anybody, if you don't receive your benefits when you turn your full retirement age up until 70, you get 8% every year increased onto your Social Security check. So if you were receiving benefits and your benefit amount was $1,000 a month, and then you delay you voluntarily suspend your benefits, and you wait those 3 years, you get 24%. So now your benefit is $1,240 a month for the rest of your life. So, okay, Bella, let's see here. RTS became a member, gold member. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm going to print your YouTube address, pass them out at Social Security offices, and tell them to get educated. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I need to come up with like a flyer or something like that. People can put in senior, centers. But I'm working on the website now. This website is looking pretty awesome, if you ask me. Yeah, and it's got a bunch of calculators in there to, working and receiving retirement benefits, working and receiving disability, when to retire, tons of information. It's like SSA.gov, but in English. I turned 66 in 8 months in August this year. I have been on disability and will be until then. Do I have to go to Social Security to change it over to regular Social Security? Nope, you don't need to do anything. That is 100% automatic. So remember, once you turn your full retirement age, It'll automatically switch. You don't have to do anything. But then remember, stop stressing about CDRs. You're not receiving disability after that. You're receiving regular retirement benefits. So no more work CDRs, no more medical CDRs, continuing disability reviews. No more work limitations, no SGA or trial work periods or IRWs or UWAs or none of that crap. You can do whatever you want. You are free. So if Congress can bail out or aid other countries to the tune of trillions of our dollars, then why don't they bail out Social Security? Because they don't want to. Yeah. And yeah, that was that's another distraction that politicians say. It says, yeah, if we stop giving all this money out to these other countries, then we'll be able to take care of American citizens. Well, they did. It's less than 1% what we were given in foreign aid. But they shut down USAID. And Peggy, have you gotten that check? And guess what? You're not gonna. So it was never about, once we stop giving money to starving people, we can, increase people's Social Security check a little bit. Yeah, that was never the plan. It was always, let's stop the money there so we can give more tax breaks to the rich. So yeah, it was never about giving you more money. Jacqueline, they say I owe them money that I do not have. Will I be arrested? No, you will not be arrested. Unless, you did it 100% on fraud or something like that, then you might be. But if it wasn't fraud, it was just a mistake, forgot to call or whatever the case may be, then they have done no due process for me and my case. If you got, the due process is you already got the due process. They told you that you owed money. And in the letter that you got, it says, hey, you owe us X amount of money. And on the bottom of it, it has an appeal process. Within 60 days, you have to do X, Y, and Z if you disagree with this decision. So that's your appeal process, your due process. If you have that overpayment and you're not able to pay for it, then it tells you at the bottom of the form, it says you can file for example, an SSA 632, a request for waiver, and you can ask them to waive it. But two things have to be met. It's not your fault, and you don't have the ability to repay it, even, $10 a month, $50 a month or something. So fill out that form as soon as possible, submit it. If you're saying that you don't have the ability to repay it, you'll have to add kind of your financial type stuff in there so they can confirm that, you don't have $1 million in the bank. And so, yes. Hello, I am on Survivor Social Security. I am now 71. Now, is it a good time to switch to my own Social Security? Or would it be too risky to switch now with what's happening? What's happening right now is no relevance to you whatsoever. I mean, in terms of making this decision, you're a year late. Yeah. Survivor benefits, retirement benefits, disability benefits, spouse benefits, divorce spouse benefits, what's happening now affects all of them, if they mess it up. In that respect, it's not an issue. But you're about a year late, just like that other person. You should have switched over when you hit 70 years old. They can go back 6 months. So I would contact Social Security immediately, if not sooner, and say, hey, that is, we're talking about that your benefits on your own record are more. If they're not more, then you don't have to do anything because it's not more. But if your benefits on your own record are more, yes, you need to switch over immediately and ask for 6 months of retroactive pay, and ask for, like Betty saying, hey, how come y'all didn't tell me that I had to do it? Why don't y'all make this an automatic process so people don't miss these benefits? So, this man is not telling you the truth because it's not in his best interest. Okay, I will tell you the truth. Mark, you need to be scared. You need to be fearful, and you need to stress. You need to be, Social Security and Elon Musk is coming for your benefits. Okay, does that make you happy? All right, I love those questions, those comments. But I am Brad Pitt's identical twin brother. So there. Mark is right. I lied. FICA is paid by everyone up to the cap. Over that cap, the person no longer pays FICA. It is impossible for the top 2% to pay 90% of FICA. Um, yeah. After you, probably everybody watching this channel right now, you pay when you work and, get wages or net income from business or whatever the case may be, you pay into Social Security. Every dollar you make, you pay FICA Social Security. But if you make over $176,100, you're exempt, tax-free. You no longer have to pay, after that amount, you no longer have to pay into Social Security, FICA tax. And that's the problem right there, is because our wages have stayed stagnant since the 1980s. And so that's the issue that's why Social Security is going to be having those cuts in a few years. If everybody paid into Social Security like the rest of us, then we would be good. So you need to reach out to your politicians and definitely tell them that they need to smash the cap. I signed up for the MCR starting June 1st. I am employed and pay for bad insurance. Do I just simply tell my employer I don't want their insurance anymore? Yeah, if that's what I should always add when I'm talking about, turning 65 and, whether you should stay on, if you have health insurance from your current work and you're happy with it and it's not crazy expensive and your employer has 20 or more employees, yours, your spouse, yada, yada, yada. But if you're not happy with it, you should compare apples and apples. So you say, okay, well, my health insurance from work covers this, this, and this, and it costs me this, this, and this every month. If I drop that, even though I don't have to switch to Medicare, but if I did, I would get Part A for zero premium. I would have to pay the $185 for Part B. I would get maybe a Medicare supplement. In my state, it costs XX. Call a chapter and they'll tell you how much it is. Then I'll have to get a Part D plan. But in case something happens, if you get a Plan G and something terrible happens, you get, have to do $1 million of cancer therapy or something. Guess how much you have to pay out of pocket, other than the premium for the Medicare Plan G, and obviously the $185 per month. But after that, how much of the $1 million do you have to pay? $257. Done. And the other $999,000 is paid by Medicare and your Plan G. So yeah, you really have to. You don't have to switch, but do the right thing. He doesn't talk about politics beyond commenting on how political policies have affected Social Security. And so, yes, that is correct. I try to avoid, I avoid partisanship. I don't avoid politics. Politics is about resources, where our resources, our tax money, our human resources should go to. And I would argue they should go to Social Security and, Medicare. This pox on both your house approach by Dr. Ed is annoying. Democrats have consistently defended Social Security for Republicans trying to cut it. No, they didn't fix it, but they can't with, there are political party that's tried to privatize it since 1935. And there's another one that says they, are going to protect it, but we're going to get cuts. That's the reality of it. So, they need to work harder. Like, for instance, under Biden, the Social Security Fairness Act. That's not fair. It didn't expand Social Security benefits. So no, don't, if you're going to give 3% of the population a higher percentage, then say that. Why say it expands Social Security, which it doesn't? It actually decreases Social Security because everybody else has to pay for it. So that wasn't being 100% honest. He was able to pass through budget reconciliation a bill to hire over 100,000 IRS agents, and he should have done the same thing for Social Security to help get people to help you out. But that wasn't. Yeah. So, again, that's the great thing about having a channel like this is there's not much partisanship, because I'm sure everybody out there doesn't want their Social Security check to stop. If this was a channel on, the energy policy or the environment or something, and some people would be on one side or the other side. And I would hate to do that channel. But this channel is awesome because everybody out there wants Social Security to be strengthened and their checks not stop. So we all are on the same exact page, and that's a great thing about it. So, I mean, try to be fair. Biden, he came out of retirement again here, and the first thing he did was talk about Social Security. So you saw that he was in the news a couple of days ago, and the first, he didn't talk about, this, that, or the other. He talked about Social Security, which was awesome. So that was good. He gave some incorrect information. His example was, um, bad customer service, and which is true. And the example he gave is like this. I think he said like 75-year-old lady, senior that needs to file for disability and she can't get in. Okay, what he should have said is the 75-year-old lady just lost a husband and needs to file for survivor benefits and can't get in. But he used disability, and that's incorrect. You cannot file for, well, you can file for disability, but nobody gets disability after their full retirement age. So that was incorrect there. So if I just call the balls and the strikes. I'm 67, retired. Retired federal. I have Medicare Part A and Part B. I also have Aetna insurance. Yeah, so if you have the federal employees' health benefits and you're happy with it, then keep on keeping on. When someone dies, their check stops being deposited into their bank account, the funeral director and cremation. Yes, that is correct. And that's another thing, these people that are trying to distract us use. They say Social Security pays out billions of dollars every year to dead people, but they don't pay it out to the 112, 150. That's all BS. But do they pay it out to deceased people? Yes, because you pass away one day and your check is due that day. And so technically Social Security paid a dead person. If you pass away on the 3rd and your check comes on the 5th, Social Security doesn't get that information quickly enough. But so technically, yes, they did pay a deceased person. So, and then politicians, look at Social Security is paying deceased people. They're incompetent. They need to be shut down, and we need to give all that money to Wall Street. That's the argument. But as anybody that has happened to, they know, they leave that money in the bank, and then the Department of Treasury goes in there and yanks that out pretty quickly. As soon as the report of death goes through the system by the cremation, funeral home or coroner's office, then it goes to the state, and the state notifies Social Security, and the Social Security notifies the Department of Treasury, and the Department of Treasury goes in there and grabs it. So that's automatic. And you have to be alive the entire month. That's what a lot of people miss. If every second of that month, you have to be alive. If someone passes away on March 31st at 11:59, they're not entitled to that check. For the March check comes in April. So the March check they're entitled to because the March check was for February. But the check they got in March was for February. So the March check comes in April. So if someone passes away on March 31st at 11:59 p.m., they're not entitled to that April check. So that's how that works. That's why they pay it a month late at the beginning, because when we all inevitably shuffle off our mortal coil, they're able to get that. Well, Social Security is complaining that they are shorthanded, and if some people are unemployed, it will be worse, taking much more time for benefits to get done. Yes. And this is what a lot of people out there, not y'all, because we've got a community here that helps y'all out. But there's going to be a lot of people out there that are, not going to get those survivor benefits when they're supposed to, are going to lose health insurance because it took Social Security, a month, 2 months, 3 months to process their application, or they filed it wrong, or they did the wrong paperwork. And I mean, this has been Social Security staffing has been declining. It's the worst in 50 years. That is even before DOGE and Elon Musk even, came into existence. Well, not Elon Musk, but before even DOGE came into existence, in its current iteration, Social Security was at a 50-year low. So, but now it's probably the low it's been in terms of, because you got the baby boomers coming up and you got Social Security employees going down. So, and people are going to say, employees are not the answer to everything. I agree. Need the computer system be updated as well. So, Let's see here. Glenda, I have a Medicare Advantage plan and I love it. Awesome. You chose the right one for you. Perfect. Medicaid pays for my premium, which helps me out tremendously. Perfect. Yeah, you can't get a Medicare supplement plan anyway, one of those Plan N or Plan G if you have Medicaid. So, yeah, you sound like you did the right thing. You have a Medicare Advantage, so you have Medicare and you have Medicaid. You're dual eligible. You also signed up for a Medicare Advantage plan, the dual eligible plan with all the the extra bells and whistles. You also have the Medicare Savings Program that pays for you $185. You also have the extra help with Medicare prescription drug plan in there. So yeah, you are doing everything right. So the only other thing you should do is, because remember that you love the plan now, but those plans, your plan, like Cinderella, disappears on midnight, December 31st. So in January 1st, that plan is whatever plan you have now won't exist January 1st. You'll get a new plan. It'll, have the same card, the same company, and you think it might have the same benefits, but yeah, it may or may not. So all of those Medicare Advantage plans are only good for 1 year. And that's one of the big problems is people think, they hate changing plans, and insurance companies love when you don't check your Medicare Advantage plan, because then what they do is they slowly diminish year after year, your benefits, and they increase your costs. And I get too many people that come in here and say, I just went to the hospital and I was charged $300 a night. My plan, when I signed up for it, was only supposed to be $50 a night. Yeah, that was the plan last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. You're supposed to check those things every year. Medicare supplements, you don't have to. So those are pretty much good. But Medicare supplements, what you should do on a Medicare supplement, if you're still healthy and you want to save some money, you might benefit by pricing, because they're all the same. If you have a Plan G, you can go to another company, Plan G, and it's exactly the same. The only difference is maybe you'll be able to save, 10, 15, 30, $50 a month or something, or go from a Plan G to a Plan N, or from Plan N to a Plan G. You might have to go through health underwriting depending on your state, but you can reach out to Chapter and they can walk you through the process and see if there's anything better for you out there. Save you some money, which is always a beautiful thing. Inner Vision FM. Oh, I already answered your question. Let's see if this is a repeat. On 65, my wife works and she makes $2,500 a month before taxes, so her income will not go against my income where they say I'm making too much. That is correct. I have SSDI for the blind. Yep. So whatever she makes, she can make $1 billion a month, and it does not affect your SSDI at all. Yesterday, I received my Social Security retirement check with additional $575 after Medicare deduction. Plus, I still receive my full pension. Wow. So extra $575. That's a beautiful thing. I wonder why. Were you part of that Social Security Fairness Act? Are you one of the people that, non-covered pension, perhaps? Is Yeah, if not, I can't think of a 575. That's definitely not a COLA, because those have already happened. Did you work last year and that increased your benefit amount? But I don't see it increasing at 575. So that sounds like possibly you were unwept or un-GPO'd based on the Social Security Fairness Act. So I'm thinking that's probably it. Shari became a silver member. Thank you very much. If you want to become a member, just on the YouTube thingy, you can click. Obviously, you can subscribe, which hopefully everybody is, and you can also support our channel. We appreciate it. Gussie, Dr. Ed, thanks for helping us and saving Social Security. Well, we're still working on it, right? Raise the FICA cap. Yes, my brother doesn't use computers or cell phones, so he asked me to open a Social Security account for him. I added junior, but his Social Security doesn't have junior. Yeah, I have the same thing. I'm a junior, and so yeah, the whole junior thing messes stuff up sometimes, and abbreviated middle names, and that's part of the security of the system. It's sensitive to stuff like that, so you might have to work through it. In terms of if your Social Security card, the name on it is not exactly like on your birth certificate or something like that, there may or may be an issue. It depends on whether it's a junior or senior or whatever the case may be. But what some people get jammed up on that is if they file their taxes, and sometimes the IRS, I'm not exactly sure when they do it, but sometimes they flag it and they say the person filing this under this Social Security number, the name is not exactly the same as it is in the Social Security record. So they kind of flag that as, hey, something suspicious here. And sometimes the flag is it has a junior, it doesn't have a junior, and stuff like that. But if that hasn't been, it sounds like that hasn't been an issue. But if remember, he doesn't have to open a Social Security account. Contrary to all of the scare of social media out there, his check is not going to stop if he doesn't have an account. Okay, if he doesn't set one up. But if he wants to, then might have to go through that extra step and get the whole junior thing figured out. So. All right. We are over an hour, and as usual, I have way, way too many questions that I can possibly answer. Let me get one more question here from the bottom of the list here. Let's see. Stephen Indy. Dr. Ed, I signed up for Social Security retirement on March 12th of this year. My application is still in step 2. Is this normal? Thank you. Yeah. That sounds about right. I applaud Social Security for doing that whole, step 1, step 2, step 3 type thing, particularly for disability. But it's kind of like when you download something, update your Windows or something like that, and it gives you a little progress bar where it goes 1%, 2%, 3%, and then all of a sudden it goes 85%, and then it goes back to 23%. So kind of think it like that. So, but yeah, if you did it online March 12th, then they're processing it. And if you did it online and they don't need to reach out to you, then they'll just go ahead and adjudicate it, process it, and you're good. If they do, make sure your phone number and everything is down there correctly, and they'll call you up. Make sure it's them they're calling you up, and not some scam trying to get your information. So what you can do is you can say, I'm not really sure. If they've got all the information, you trust them, then go for it because you've got a pending application. But if it sounds kind of suspicious, say, hey, which office are you at? You're my local office there. What's your name? What's your extension? And you can call them back. After you confirm the phone number. But yeah, yours should be good. Shouldn't have any problem. It's going to, take a lot longer than it should. So Steve, in the meantime, call your politicians and say, hey, all of this should be quicker and easier. What are you doing to make that happen? So, all right, that is it for today. And as usual, please, please, please take care of each other.